Folks, welcome back. More news agencies are confirming the Hunter Biden emails in the growing scandal, first reported by the New York Post. Fox News says a source on the alleged Hunter Biden email chain has verified messages about a deal with a Chinese investment firm. For more on this, we're joined by the man who says he has firsthand knowledge of the Hunter Biden hard drive, joined now by former New York City Police Commissioner Bernie Kerik, also a Newsmax contributor. Bernie, it's great to see you as always. Folks, if you want to go and follow Commissioner Kerik on Twitter, you can't. His account has been suspended. Was the lockout because of your posts about this scandal, Bernie?
Yeah, I think it's back up now, but it was initially as a result of some of the things I posted. The bottom line is I've reviewed the drive on several days with Mayor Giuliani, and it's kind of stunning. There's about 28,000 images, just under 28,000. There's about 60,000 text messages and emails, and I have to admit we're not through it all. We're probably through less than half of it, in depth. But there's a bunch of stuff that's already come out of this. The fact that Joe Biden says that he never had a conversation with his son about his business dealings, that's a lie. There's proof in the emails that that's not true. There's deals that they discuss, that's discussed in the emails, where Biden gets 10% of one thing. In another email, he's talking about 50% that he had to give his father. There's just, it's overwhelming. And here's the one thing that really bugs me, Chris. They put Rod Blagojevich in prison for 14 years for talking politics on the phone when he had no personal, professional, or political gain. None, zero. This family has taken in millions of dollars off of Joe Biden's position, and there doesn't seem to be a real investigation when, in fact, we know that the FBI picked up that computer and a hard drive on December 9th of 2019. How these guys are not in handcuffs, how there's not an active, ongoing investigation, I don't know, but I think it's something the president has to look at and hold people accountable that failed in their duties.
Yeah, I want to get to the FBI and their possession of this information in a minute. But let me ask you, you mentioned images. Are there any images on this laptop, on this hard drive, that are illegal? I don't want to get into that right now. This is, there's two areas of focus, I think, for us. One is the Ukrainian, China, and other deals that were put together by Hunter that led to his father, or was, dealt with his father and his uncle James. There's a bunch of him in there as well. And there's a bunch of images that I think state authorities have to look at, but I can't get into that right now. I understand. Let me talk about the FBI. It is, as you point out, the FBI has been in possession of this laptop or the hard drive since 2019. Question: Christopher Wray, is he withholding information so as to not influence an election against Democrats?
Well, look, here's what we know. We know there was a grand jury subpoena issued on December 9th for the laptop and the drive. We know they picked it up. There's a receipt given to the Mac shop owner for the MacBook Pro and drive. They took possession of it. Where it went from that point on, we don't know, and that's yet to be determined. But I have to tell you, given that this was a time, and you focused on this during the impeachment process, you mean to tell me that nobody brought it up and said, listen, by the way, we have a ton of information in a computer that belongs to Hunter Biden that basically corroborates there was dealings with Ukraine? Nothing.
So I think this is something the president has to deal with and has to deal with soon.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact the president mentioned the fact of the corruption from the Bidens, and he was actually asking something that was legitimate, and perhaps the information contained on this hard drive, if it is as reported, could have been something that could have exonerated the president. And again, here we have a leader of the FBI, just like his predecessor,
Chris,
withholding
100%.
information.
100%.
Yeah, well, I'm saying that here we have another leader of the FBI withholding exculpatory information on an investigation of the president of the United States. And it more than ticks me off to know that's a possibility.
Well, it happened. So somebody's going to have to figure out why.
Yeah, I'd like to know why myself. Last thing, Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe came out over the weekend basically saying that Adam Schiff wandering around out there saying that this laptop was somehow created by the Russians, planted by the Russians. I have no idea what he's talking about. But he's out there saying Russia, 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 hope. And of course, only NBC News believes him. What is your take? DNI Ratcliffe already torpedoed that, but what is your take on Mr. Schiff's proclamation that this is all a Russian disinformation campaign, Hunter Biden's laptop?
Well, I think Mr. Schiff didn't know before he opened his big mouth that on April 12th of 2019, Hunter Biden dropped the devices off, 3 MacBook Pros, at the Mac shop, and there was a receipt given to Hunter Biden. When this story hit the New York Post, Hunter Biden's attorney called the Mac shop looking for the devices. Well, if it was Russian disinformation or it wasn't his, why would they call? This is nonsense. This is all BS.
All right, Bertie Kerik, always a pleasure talking with you, sir, and thanks for the information. We'll continue to follow this, even though the majority of the press is not.